Welcome back to Reselling Adventures. Boy, it's been a week, you guys, and I don't like to complain. But do you ever feel like you just want to throw in the towel? This was one of those weeks, and honestly, I don't want to throw in the towel, but after one of these weeks, I can understand why somebody would want to. It's been slow sales, returns, even a negative feedback, and it's a lot to deal with. I sort of wanted to take this time in this video to discuss it and also discuss how do we work through it, because it's part of life and we got to figure it out. So while we do this, we'll pick some orders as well and we'll see what did sell. My name is Anne and I've been reselling with my husband Bill for quite some time, and we're just doing some videos trying to share our experiences and maybe learn some stuff back and forth with you as well. I love it when you comment and we all learn together, right? Let me show you the first item that did sell. So the first item that sold was a Phoenix Suns jersey. It was my son's jersey years ago, and he decided that he didn't want it anymore. I always tell you, go through your stuff. The best place to source is in your own house a lot of times, and it brings in a little extra income. As long as you do this, you might as well take advantage of it, right? That one actually sold for $34.99 plus shipping. So that was, I'm happy with that for a used item that he just had laying around. He'll be happy he can get a burger or something, right? So I guess when talking about this there's some hard truths with reselling. It is a business, and so there's a lot on everybody's plate. And when you add the summer slowdowns and negative feedbacks, there's definitely an emotional toll. And these are truths about it. So let's start talking about, there's different seasons to reselling. And one of the biggest ones, and it's the famous term for it, is summer slowdown. And we get hit by it every year. I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing that surprises me. Unfortunately, we always get hit with it. Now, we were lucky this year. If you've watched our videos in the past, you know we've been selling a lot of boat parts, and we were lucky enough to find a storage unit full of OEM boat parts that were very popular, very much in demand, and very season related. So the beginning of our summer has been pretty good. So we really didn't get hit with the slowdown as soon as we normally do. But it does happen. Why? Why does summer slowdown happen? Well, for one thing, people are busier. They're out and about. They're taking vacations. They're doing outside activities. So they're not just sitting on the internet watching and scrolling eBay to find their favorite things. So that's a big part of it. Their funds are also going towards vacations and outdoor activities. So it happens. The other thing is, what is your competition during summer? You have huge competition during the summer. It isn't any longer just thrift stores and antique stores. You have flea markets, you have rummage sales. There's auctions all year round, but it increases because there's a lot of house auctions where you go to an estate sale that's at a house and everybody gathers outside and they do auctions. So there's so much more competition during the summer as well. So it definitely is something to consider. Just part of life. And it does move on, right? Summer doesn't last forever. It's just part of it. You sort of have to figure that in the books, and that's why we save during the good months, so we have some extra during the sad months. So talking about the boat parts, this is a Johnson shift lever for a boat. And so this one sold for $36 and the customer did pay shipping. And it's interesting that this boat part actually went international. So even boat parts. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the emotional end of all of this. When you have slow sales, it's pretty emotionally draining. You aren't seeing the numbers that you get before. And then you get a negative feedback. I recently got a negative feedback, and we don't get many. I mean, we have, if you look at our seller rating, we usually have 100%. Every once in a while, we'll get a negative. It's just part of it. But this person gave a negative feedback, never contacted us. So what I did is I contacted the customer and said, we do offer free returns. Just ship the item back if you don't like it. So he did open a return. I need to reach back out to that customer and see if he is gonna remove the feedback, because honestly, we took care of the situation. The other thing I can do is I can contact eBay and say, hey, we've given him a 100% return. Can we get this feedback reversed? There's different options when you get negative feedback. So you just need to work through them a little bit. And honestly, it probably is another video that I should do discussing how you handle returns, because it can get pretty in-depth. And there's different decisions that everybody needs to make for their own. Everybody has their own business. So, anyways, I got a negative feedback. It does hit me. It hits me hard. I really take pride in what I do in my business. And I want to make sure that my customers are happy. And when I see, and of course they put the negative feedback in bright red, so it just sticks out. And it does bother me. But you know what? It's one feedback. And I'll do what I can do to get it resolved. But in the end of the day, it's one feedback. And I think most people do realize that there's always going to be something that happens. Whether it was your fault or not, life happens. And if you have one bad feedback and you're still at like 99 some percent, I think you're going to be fine. And just take it, move on, try to work through it. But don't let it beat you up. You're worth so much more than that. Don't let it beat you up. Do what you can and move on. Now, the other thing about emotional is it can be draining to be self-employed. You are doing all the bookkeeping. You are doing any marketing that you do. You're doing all the inventory. You're doing all the sourcing. You're doing all the taxes. You're listing. You're taking pictures. It's a lot, and it can be draining. All I can say about that is try to have systems in place. Try to stay organized. If you haven't seen my video on inventory systems, I do highly suggest it. It is by the grace of God that I can keep all this inventory organized to make sure I find it and keep my score high. And it just is less stressful if you can find your inventory. So that's what it comes down to. Give yourself some grace with this stuff, you guys. It's my favorite term, I know, but give yourself some grace and do the best you can and just keep plugging along, because that's what life is. You just got to keep plugging along. Let's pull another item. So we have another Mercury Marine service manual, and this one is for a 45 jet, 50, 55, and 60 horsepower. And so this sold for $17.98, and the customer did pay for shipping. The other thing that we sort of touched on a little bit already is returns. I don't know what it is, if there's been a full moon recently or what, but we average, I would say, about 2 returns a month. And sometimes we discuss it with the customer and we can find a way to resolve it without them returning it. And sometimes they don't even end up sending the item back. So I am going to say that we have to deal with 2 possible returns each month. And I will say they do come through a lot of times, but sometimes we can figure it out. This month there were 6. I was like, what the heck? I don't think I've ever had this many returns. Couple thoughts on it. I wanted to understand why. Why did I have so many returns? Was it something that I did? Or is it something that I can fix? Because I don't want to keep dealing with a ton of returns. It's definitely something that we have to consider in our numbers. We offer free returns, which means we pay for the return shipping. And I don't care if the person just doesn't like the item, if it doesn't fit, period. Our policy is we accept free returns. So there's cost to having returns. Now, most of the time, we can relist the item once we get it back. Sometimes it's damaged, sometimes it shouldn't be, relisted, sometimes it can be. It all depends. So, things that we have to look at. Each case is individual, too. No case, I think, is ever the same. But I wanted to understand why. And there were a lot of them that they just said I didn't like, or there were a couple items that didn't work. One was actually 1 or 2. I think 2 of them were boat parts. Now, these OEM boat parts that we got in, we have shipped out a ton of them. I mean, watch our videos. It's like we're shipping boat parts out of here like crazy. So the majority of them are working just fine, no problems. You can look at our feedback. They're like, great part, great original OEM part. So I'm still glad we listed it. But I did have a feeling that there's going to be a couple in there that didn't work. They were stored in a storage unit. I don't know for how long. They are vintage. Things happen. Even if they were brand new parts, how many returns does Walmart have for it not working? Okay, so fair enough. We had a couple boat parts that got returned not working. I think the value that we made off of those parts, I still would run those again, and I returned the money. I made sure the customers were satisfied. Good to go. One of them was that negative feedback. It was on a pocket knife, and honestly, I think he probably just didn't review the pictures close enough and wasn't happy with the item. That's fine. I'll take that return. I'll be able to relist it. I'll lose the shipping costs in it for the return shipping. But for us, we just consider it part of doing business. The other one, there was one that they didn't like. One was a service manual that they didn't like. That one I sort of question. Maybe it could have been a couple different reasons. It might have been that he ended up getting the wrong one and it wasn't exactly what he was looking for. He thought maybe it would work for his boat, but didn't. Or did he look up what he needed and just said, oh, I don't like it, and returned it? It could be. I don't know. But overall, I think our sales have been up pretty high lately. We've been doing really good on our sales. So I will give part of it as an increase in the amount of sales we're doing means an increase of returns. The other part of it is, I think with people being busy and being out and about for summer, maybe they're not looking at pictures as much. But what it comes down to is I didn't really feel like there was anything more I could have done on my part I'm making sure that the situations are getting resolved. And that's all I can do. Is it going to stop me from selling? No. The amount of returns I have compared to the sales, it's not gonna, I'm still doing better by selling. So I have to look at the positives instead of the negatives and keep just working through it. I mean, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get returns. I don't think it will always be this quantity of returns. I think we just hit a bump in the road and we'll move on from it, and hopefully it won't be this much in the future. I'll keep you posted on it, but usually you go in these waves and you make it through it and you survive, and you just have to laugh it off and brush it off. Okay, this is just a simple pair of gray Converse tennis shoes. They are women's and they are size 8. They're the Chuck Taylors. These only sold for $13.29. The customer did pay shipping, but I was really surprised. These were in pretty decent condition. I was really surprised that it took a long time to sell, and they did go through our sales program, but I'm not a big tennis shoe salesperson, but I was surprised. So let me know your thoughts on it, but at least they're out the door and somebody will enjoy them. Okay, the next item is a vinyl record. As you know, we've been selling a lot of vinyl records. This one is the Soft Machine Volume 2, and this sold for $27 for shipping. Now this one, Fiesta ware. Glassware. Everybody says glassware doesn't sell well. Well, Fiesta ware tends to do pretty well. There are some glass items that sell well. We ended up purchasing boxes of this, and I didn't pay much for it because it was dirty. It was all over the place. And I was like, I don't know how much of this is chipped, how much of it isn't. I know Fiesta ware does well, but I'm no expert at it. So I bought it for a really good price. So honestly, I know you guys are going to shoot me in the comments when you hear what I sold it for, but I did look up comps and I did go on the lower end of it just because I don't want glassware. You have to be careful on how you store it so it doesn't break and doesn't chip. It takes up a lot of room. So part of my reasoning was, one, I want to increase those sales because my sales have been a little bit low lately. But I also want to make sure we get this moving. So this is the color Juniper, and it is an HLC one. So you definitely want to watch the logos on the bottom. The HLC makes it a little bit better when it's marked with that. But it sold, like, I listed it and I think it sold later that day. Like, it sold quick. I only sold it for $35. They did pay shipping. The highest I've seen this sold for on eBay was $45. Honestly, if I didn't have so much of this stuff, I probably would have priced it higher. But I have so much of this and I have to find places to put it while I store it, so I'd rather go for the quick sale. I sold it for $35 with the shipping. So look out for Fiesta ware. It sold quick. Now this is in really nice condition, no chips. So that is one thing that I think can help with the attitude of being in a slump, wanting to throw in that towel. I don't want any of you to throw in the towel. So find ways that's going to improve your sales. One thing I did was I increased the number of listings I did. You guys, sometimes I'm not perfect at getting my listings up either. And I wasn't that great with listings the week prior, and it showed. I was cleaning out a storage unit. The weather's nice. I was getting listings done, but not like I should have. So I spent some time really doing some heavy listing. The other thing I did is I didn't put everything at top dollar. I wanted to get those sales moving. Now, you have to be careful with that. I had items around that I knew I could put at lower prices because I didn't have a lot of money into it. And they were items I want to see moving anyways. So those are the items I picked to list. So get those listings going. Make sure you price them at a point that you can afford to sell it at, but maybe don't go for the highest price right now unless you're willing to sit on it. That's okay. You can sit on it if you can afford to. I know sometimes the financial difficulty of being self-employed, especially if you weren't able to save up for it, can hurt. So sometimes you need to put pricing a little lower to get those sales moving, but make sure you're not losing money. You don't want to give it away, but sometimes to get it moving, it isn't a bad idea. The other things you can do is go through some of your older listings and refresh them. Send out offers, send out coupons. You can send coupons out to past customers. That might get things going as well. But see what you can do to get those sales moving. Don't just throw in the towel and go, Don't just shrug your shoulders. Let's find ways to get past this. If you can't think of any other ways, watch some of my other videos because they do have some good suggestions on getting sales moving. I'll even tag some up in the comments. But get those listings going. So the next item is a snap-on. It is a 1/4-inch ratchet. It is a 1/4-inch ratchet, long handle. And this went for $70 and the customer is paying shipping. Don't miss out on those professional grade tools. $70 for this tiny little ratchet. The next item we sold was a book called Forrest Gump. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the movie. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was actually taped not too far from here in Savannah, Georgia. And I think it's pretty good, but $25 and the customer paid shipping. Now, one thing I really want to suggest to you all, don't get too upset because fourth quarter is coming and it might be slower. You might not have as much to ship, but there's something you can do. You can take advantage of having a little extra time to go enjoy the sun because this is my favorite season. I love summer. Anybody who knows me knows I love summer. I love the heat. I love going to the lake. I love camping. I love riding my bike. So I'm okay with shipping a little bit less during summer and dealing with even some of the slower sales, even if it means a little bit less sales. I like working harder during the winter months. The summer months, I love the outdoors and I want to be able to take that time. So I'm going to enjoy it. But here's the other thing. Fourth quarter is around the corner. You got October, November, December. Those are those hot months that you want to sell on. You always hear about fourth quarter. There's also a lot to get done for bookkeeping and end of the year because you want to get your taxes done at the beginning of the year. Take this time. All those listings you're doing now, if they don't sell right now and you want to put it at those higher prices, guess what? Fourth quarter, you're going to be prepared. You're going to be ready to go. And that's how you can bank some of that money. So don't be shy about getting those listings up. They will be there. Even the holiday stuff. If you want to put the holiday stuff up now, you'd be surprised how early some people start buying it. Also, you got school year coming up. If you find school supplies, those really nice backpacks or certain name brand clothes, you got the school shopping. That's not that far away. So get going on that. It's coming, you guys. Fourth quarter will be here. This is a Fiesta Ware candle. This one has been around for a while. Actually, I listed this a while ago. It did have a chip on it, but I still got $20 plus shipping, and it was a single candle holder. It was a larger size one. and it was just for a stick handle. It had a really cool design, very, very unique. So I'm glad to see that one go, but $20 plus shipping, not too bad for some items that have a chip. Now this one I actually think I should have once again put a little higher. This sold same day. But when I looked them up, they were, well, I guess I should tell you what it is, right? These are Demetes cups by Fiesta Ware. They're basically used for espresso. I am not a coffee drinker, and so I really don't know that much about these, but they are vintage. They are Fiesta Ware. There were 5 of them, and the main reason why I think I should have went higher is because they had a black one in there, and that I think is a very unique color. I don't think I sold them too much under. They were going for about $11, $12 per cup. I wanted to give a little bit of a discount because they were doing a group. So I sold 5 of them for $40. The customers did pay shipping. Either way, I am happy to have them gone. They're moving out the door. And I'll tell you, I have already made my money back on all this Fiesta Ware that I purchased. And I still have so much more left, you guys. So I'm going to do really well on it. With the 3 items of Fiesta Ware I showed you today, those boxes are paid off. So I'm still glad I didn't pay more than what I did because it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work to clean them. And there were a lot of items in there that did have chips, like that candle holder. That candle holder did have a chip. I didn't know it was all in there. He didn't display it well. I paid a fair price, in my opinion. On that note, I'm going to close this video. But let's recap. Yeah, it can get rough being a seller. There's summer slowdowns, seasonal ups and downs. Everything's on you. You're self-employed. There's some emotional baggage with this as well, with negative feedbacks and returns. But guess what? We're stronger than that, and we can do this. We're going to keep up going. Summer slowdown, it's going to pass, and we're going to enjoy the sun while it's here. We're going to look for Q4, where sales are going to pick up. And as far as all the business stuff, we're going to learn the strategies. We're going to get systems. We're going to keep a good inventory system, so that ain't going to bother us. And we're going to be ready to rock and roll and make some money. So don't get burnt out. Keep running. Keep moving. And let's enjoy it. I love reselling. I am so glad that I ended up making this my full-time career. It gives me the flexibility to do what I want. I can make the income I want. The more I work, the more I make. And I'm in control of my time and my destiny. So get out there, enjoy the sun, and enjoy reselling. Happy selling.